Dr. Thomas Garcia is a guitarist and professor of ethnomusicology at Miami University and an expert in the music of Heitor Villa-Lobos. I'm David Crean with Arts Focus.
I've been involved with Villa-Lobos since I was 3 months old, which sounds a little crazy, I know, but my mom studied with Villa-Lobos in Rio in the 1950s, and when we moved to this country, Villa-Lobos was doing a concert about 15 minutes drive from where we were living, which was West Point. My father's professor of Portuguese at West Point. So my mom and my dad decided to go see my mom's professor. After the concert, I actually met Villa-Lobos. I don't remember the experience. I was 3 months old, but apparently he picked me up and held me so I can say that I have 0 degrees of separation from Villa-Lobos. So I did my master's thesis for my degree in musicology on Villa-Lobos' early guitar music, and had planned on writing on his later guitar music for my dissertation. But in order to do that, I had to be able to explain the Brazilian genre called choro. So I had a bit of a tantrum with my advisor, and I said, I can't write about Villa-Lobos until somebody writes about choro. He said, you do it.
Right.
So my dissertation, which had 1 chapter on choro, ended up becoming entirely on choro. And since then, I've continued my work on Villa-Lobos. The latest thing was I edited the catalog of the Villa-Lobos Museum in Rio. I was on the editorial team for the Portuguese language one, and I was the editor for the new English language catalog for the Villa-Lobos Museum. The thing I'm doing right now is we have a new book on Villa-Lobos coming out. I have a chapter in it, Villa-Lobos in Europe. I actually wrote about the relationship between Villa-Lobos and the great Andres Segovia, his friend and collaborator. He wrote almost all of the guitar music for Segovia. I only was able to focus in this chapter on the concerto. So I'm continuing this work on the preludes and the etudes.
Can you say a little bit about the genre of the choro itself?
It's a genre that popped up in about 1870 or so, around 1870, like a lot of other genres in the Americas. Ragtime, rumba, música norteña in Mexico, tango. Those are just some examples of music that took African roots and European music and combined them. The way this music was manifested in Brazil was this genre called choro. African rhythms, but Portuguese guitar-like instruments, European instruments like the flute, clarinet, trombone, trumpet, later the saxophone, percussion, including most commonly pandeiro, which looks like a tambourine, has a completely different technique and sounds like a drum set. Villa-Lobos was born in 1887. He was among the first generation of musicians playing this music.
How much of Villa-Lobos music do you perform?
All of it. I have performed all of it. I currently perform all of the preludes, about half the etudes, a bunch of character pieces, and I'm performing the concerto this March. And there's another concerto of his called Introduction to Choro for guitar and orchestra, which I actually recorded. I've even done a lot of arrangements of Villa-Lobos for different combinations.
What do you find particularly compelling about his music?
Well, he was a guitarist, and he was one of the first of his generation to actually understand the instrument. He also, as a young man, was totally involved in this Brazilian European genre called choro. He played guitar in it. He played cello for classical music and choro afterwards. And all of his instrumental music in some way is informed by his roots in popular music. So what I found fascinating was these connections between popular and classical, and in Villa-Lobos we get that.
I feel fairly confident in saying that Villa-Lobos is the best-known Brazilian composer in the United States, but how is he viewed there?
He is the most important cultural figure in classical music that exists. But I always have a problem, classical or popular? My answer is yes, absolutely, because everything he did was informed by his participation in pop music. But he is highly regarded in Brazil. Ask any Brazilian on the street who's the most important Brazilian composer, they will say Villa-Lobos. Take Copland, Gershwin, Charles Ives, and slam them all together, and Villa-Lobos is still bigger. What you must consider when you're listening to Latin music is it isn't all the same. Brazil has lots of regional differences in addition to being different than any other country in Latin America, most notably because of the language. So Villa-Lobos was standing on his own, away from all the other Latin American composers. And Villa-Lobos is all about the Southeast, though he did make some efforts to be more inclusive.
Where can people hear you perform over the next few months?
I'm doing a concert in October at Miami University. I'm also playing in March. I'm doing a concerto with the Miami University Symphony Orchestra. And the week before that, I'm actually doing a pop music concert at the Community Arts Center in Oxford. And I'm at the Reed Center on February 3rd in Richmond, Indiana, a beautiful old church.
For more information on Thomas Garcia's research and performances, go to miamioh.edu. I'm David Crean. Arts Focus is a production of Dayton's Discover Classical.